Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and who doesn't love a good video game villain reveal? That moment when they unclip their mask and pull it away from their face to reveal, Nan? What, you meant to be down the bingo hall, what are you doing here? This makes no sense whatsoever, why are you trying to kill the people? Stop it. It's because your fuel allowance didn't come through. Fair enough, can I join? Anyway, besides the point, what I'm saying is that villain reveals like this with the mask coming off is utterly brilliant because you genuinely don't know for the most part who is going to be under it. And once it's finally revealed, you get that rush of emotions as you try to figure out why they've done it, what you're going to need to do to stop them, and indeed, whether or not you can. So let's take a look at them today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 jaw-dropping masked villain reveals in video games. Number 10, DEATHSTROKE, Batman Arkham Origins. In contrast to others on this list, the unmasking of Slade Wilson, aka DEATHSTROKE, doesn't really have much impact on the story of Arkham Origins, but you've got to admit it is a pretty darn cool moment. Of the 8 assassins that Black Mask's bounty on Batman lures to Gotham, DEATHSTROKE is clearly the most evenly matched fighter when squared up against the Dark Knight. Though his role in the game isn't all that big, his boss fight easily stands out as one of the best in the entire Arkham series, despite a little bit of sneaky recycling from Arkham City's Ra's al Ghul boss battle. Halfway through the fight, after fending off a massive volley of sword strikes, Batman jumps up and slams his fist down on the mercenary's one-eyed mask, knocking it straight off and exposing a very comics-faithful interpretation of the aging Slade. It doesn't affect the gameplay in any way, but that growl that Slade lets out when his face is revealed gives you a sense of how insulted he is to have been unmasked by such a worthy opponent. Number 9, Handsome Jack, Borderlands 2. As the main antagonist of Borderlands 2, the cruel irony of Handsome Jack's name really comes into play at the very end of his story. The mask he wears is of his own face, or more specifically, what his face used to look like before an unknown incident in the past left him hideously scarred and blind in one eye, which you find out what happened when you play the pre-sequel. After the death of his daughter Angel, Jack shows up with a nihilistic goal of bringing order to Pandora and establishing himself as the ruler. Inevitably, his ace in the hole, the warrior, is defeated, and should you decide to not put an end to his drivelling yourself, Handsome Jack finally meets his demise at the hands of Lilith. With this method, you're treated to an image of your enemy like you've never seen him before. There's a huge horse-shaped scorch mark right across his face, which certainly explains why he'd want to pretend that he'd still look normal. And like I said before, what makes this all the more impactful is when you play Borderlands the pre-sequel and find out how it actually happened in the first place. Number 8, EREDIN, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Wild Hunt sports some of the most elaborate suits of armor out of anyone on the continent, and in some ways it's almost a shame when you have to take off Eredin's mask, because that skull face is actually pretty cool. Now, Ciri has been pursued by the riders of the Wild Hunt for most of her life, and by the time of The Witcher 3, Big G manages to track her down and bring her back to the Wolf School. Despite this, it's not long before the hunt catches on, and the Witcher's stronghold is soon set upon by hordes of armed fighters. Now, Eredin doesn't show up until near the end of the fight, and with Ciri frozen in place, he takes off his mask and tries to convince her to give herself to the hunt. With Big G, Ciri, and other fighters immobilized, this powerful moment draws all of your attention towards the Wild Hunt and the destruction that they've wrought. And even though Eredin's identity isn't exactly a secret, it's still nice to see the face behind the mask. Number 7, Bowser Jr., Super Mario Sunshine. Not even the most light-hearted of games are guaranteed to be free of masked miscreants. And so in Super Mario Sunshine, the unmasking of this particular character marks the first appearance of 2 heavily recurring members of the Super Mario series. The first is Shadow Mario, a dark and liquid-like impersonation of Mario that sets about vandalizing Delfino R with lethal goop. And when Mario finally tracks him down and manages to defeat a huge mecha version of Bowser, Shadow Mario takes center stage and morphs into his true identity, Bowser Jr. It turns out that not only did the son of Bowser acquire a magic paintbrush and form-changing face mask from Professor E. Gadd, but he's also been led to believe that Princess Peach is his mother and he's here to take her back from the bad man that is Mario. This masked reveal is especially shocking given that this is Bowser Jr.'s debut in the series, and considering that Shadow Mario later returned to the Mario universe as his own character, it's safe to say that the events of Mario Sunshine are felt long after they happen. Number 6, Ancient Minister, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. As is the general consensus with competitive multiplayer games, you wouldn't be blamed for forgetting that Super Smash Bros. Brawl actually had its own story mode, but it does, and one of the main antagonists is being completely wrapped in mystery. The Ancient Minister is the leader of the Subspace Army, overseeing the squadron of robots that the heroes fight against. His role in the game is primarily just a behind-the-scenes armchair general who never seems to actually do anything himself. That is, until the player gets inside the subspace bomb factory and turns the Minister's own units against him. They set fire to his cloak, and when his disguise falls away, it turns out to be just another Rob. Well, thankfully, this Rob is on your side. And with the plucky little failed game console joining the ranks of your team, the world of trophies is one step closer to freedom from the evil taboo and the clutches of subspace. Finally, a use for him after all. Number 5. Tinkerer, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Insomniac's second installment in their Spider-Man series presents a rather different take on the classic Marvel Comics villain, the Tinkerer. Traditionally a frail old man, this incarnation offers a much younger, more battle-ready version of the character, complete with an all-new high-tech mask. A technological genius, the Tinkerer's equipment allows for superhuman strength, speed, and durability, as well as powerful energy beams that are fired from advanced gauntlets. During a mid-game scuffle on the Braithwaite Bridge, Miles Morales' Spider-Man gets a brief look at the villain without their mask, discovering that she's actually Finn Mason, his best friend from childhood who wants revenge on Roxxon for the death of her brother. Sure, it's really only a shock revelation to non-comic fans, as despite the gender swap, people familiar with Marvel will no doubt recognize the character's name, but even then the impact it has on Miles still carries a lot of weight within the story, and it's refreshing to see such an original take on a villain whose identity is not usually a secret. Number 4. Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight. Yes, there's really no better medium for shocking unmaskings than superhero video games, and as soon as the title character of Batman Arkham Knight was announced, the internet was lousy with theories as to who this new DC entrant might be under the visor. The Arkham Knight goes to extreme lengths to dispose of the Batman, sending an entire armed militia after him and working with Scarecrow to lure him out. He claims he knows him better than anyone, and so he alone has the knowledge and skills to bring him down. Meanwhile, a hallucination of the Joker regales us with the story of Jason Todd, a former Robin that Joker tortured and killed before he could be rescued. Now, it's meant to highlight the guilt that Batman carries on his shoulders throughout the Caped Crusade and, as it turns out, becomes pretty relevant when the Arkham Knight is finally revealed, because, of course, it's Jason Todd. Okay, so maybe the build-up was a little bit rushed, but the effect it has on the story going forwards is monumental. Batman, racked with guilt, tries to apologize for abandoning him, and although he takes a good bit of persuading, Jason, now the Red Hood, comes to the Dark Knight's aid at the end of the game when he really needs it. Number 3. Unknown Thief, Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. Transported to the Bogon Galaxy, the celebrity heroes Ratchet and Clank are tasked by the CEO of Megacorp, Abercrombie Fizzwidget, with hunting down a prototype lab specimen that was stolen by a shifty masked character. Working with the Thugs for Less company, the thief is hell-bent on taking down Megacorp, and doesn't think twice about going beyond simple theft to do so. Ratchet and Clank corner him though on the planet Tabora, and when he trips during his grand speech, his mask and cloak falls off, revealing the thief to be a Lombax, just like Ratchet. Revealing herself as Angela Cross, a former Megacorp employee who wasn't given enough time to perfect the company's new product, the Proto-Pet, she explains that the creatures are extremely dangerous in their current form and must be stopped before Megacorp ships them out all over the galaxy. The twist here then is that the unknown thief was really the good guy all along, which you'll admittedly have a hard time predicting since she shoots the living daylights out of you until that point. Number 2. Second Sister, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The Star Wars franchise sure does love its masked villains, and although every face-concealing Force user may seem at this point like a pale imitation of Darth Vader, entries like 2019's Fallen Order show that there are still plenty of ways to surprise in the galaxy far, far away. Now, Cal finds himself on the run from the Inquisitors, a militant cult-like group dedicated to purging the last of the Jedi following Order 66. On the starship Stinger Mantis, he gains certain pearls of wisdoms from a past Jedi that hint that there is something more than meets the eye to the leader of the Inquisitors, the Second Sister. After a pretty tough fight, the Second Sister takes off her mask and reveals herself to be Trilla, who was betrayed by the Emperor when the location of her hideout was given away by her former mentor. Her main beef is with her old master, obviously, but Cal's interference in her plans puts him just as high on her hit list. Unlike most tragic villain stories, there's no path to redemption here, as her failure results in her being impaled on the end of Darth Vader's lightsaber. Clearly, there's only one room for one masked baddie in this story. And number 1, Darth Revan, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Never before or since has a plot twist involving an unmasking of a villainous character hit home quite like this. Even in cases where there's so few characters that you could have probably guessed the villain's identity through the process of elimination, the actual outcome of Knights of the Old Republic is something that knocks the wind out of you time and time again. Though Darth Revan only makes one physical appearance in-game, the character is alluded to a lot throughout the acclaimed Star Wars prequel. Originally a Jedi who defected in the Mandalorian Wars, Revan became a Sith Lord alongside Darth Malak, but when the latter's betrayal left them gravely injured, Revan was taken in by the Jedi and retrained in the ways of the light side of the Force. It's only when the player confronts Malak later in the game that the shocking truth comes to fruition, and in a painfully slow-moving cutscene, Revan takes off their Mandalorian mask to reveal the face of, well, your created character. Now honestly, tell me, who amongst you saw that coming? It's an equal shock to both you and your character, made all the weightier by the path that you've chosen to go down at that point. You can either embrace your former Sith identity from that point on, or stay true to the light and defeat Malak. Either way, this is not going to be something you forget anytime soon. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 jaw-dropping masked villain reveals in video games. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, as my personal gaming channel where I stream every single Wednesday and Sunday. It'd be great to see you over there. But before I go, my friend, I just want to say one thing. I hope that you are treating yourself well with love and respect, because you goddamn well deserve it. And do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, okay? You're a big ledge in my eyes. Now I want you to go out there and absolutely smash it, whatever you're getting up to today. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.